Oh, you talking about Graham?
Yeah.
My man Graham.
So like, I caught it late, so I didn't know if you guys were buddies or not. You know, but Graham, you were getting cooked, dog. You know what I'm saying?
But
like,
look, you was getting cooked like some Grahams.
Graham was getting cooked, man.
But look, this is the way I look at it, right? So everyone has their sphere of knowledge, and some people care about expanding their sphere of knowledge. Some people don't, right? We were just upstairs watching a UFC fight real quick, right? We were watching the fight. How many times did I try to tell you what was going on in the ring?
None.
How many questions did I ask?
Numerous.
A bunch of questions. You are an expert at that. This is when homie was talking a second ago. I can tell he is an expert in boxing.
Talk that shit.
Yo, that sounds crazy.
Expert.
Do not. That is crazy.
Record.
But go ahead.
Undefeated in boxing.
But he was saying,
that is crazy. You gave him that praise.
Yo, you heard him? Wait. Don't switch up now. What you say about this nigga? You've been watching him for years. You've been listening to him for years.
Yeah. He was talking, but look, what he was talking about was what makes a natural fighter, how you can make a natural fighter, all of that. So he's got some experience in this. He knows what he's talking about. So what I'm saying is this. I say that to say this. The only reason why it seems like I know what I'm talking about is because I only speak when I do.
Talk that shit.
Is I only talk when I do. If I'm upstairs and I'm in y'all world, I'm a student. I'm asking questions. I'm trying to figure out how you know. We up there. I'm like, yo, how are you breathing right now? What are you thinking right now? Like, what's going through your head right now? Because every single moment that I'm in a place where I don't understand what's going on, I'm trying to get smarter. I think that some people, number one, don't really care about that because it's de-incentivized to actually know what you're talking about now because everybody's voice holds the same amount of weight. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is now the qualifications for jumping into a conversation or actually being taken seriously in that conversation are way down. So you don't have to do the reading. You don't have to have the experience. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Right. But so me, what I try to do is make sure that if I don't have a grasp on what's going on, that I'm learning and not talking.
Intellectual curiosity.
Absolutely.
It's almost dead in this world because, like you said, it's not even about everybody has the same voice. It's about how many likes can you get, how many followers can you get. Nuance doesn't really have a place on social media. Like, nobody wants to sit there and read 72 tweets of you breaking down the nuances between Republican and Democrat. Most people, when he said it was the difference between Republican and Democrat, most people would say Democrat, Republican. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's how people, because it's easier to break down that way. Black and white. Oh. It's easier, see what I'm saying? So most people,
I seen beige and all. What
you mean? It's golden brown, brother. From the motherland. But yeah, so there's no room for nuance. Whoever's the loudest in the room, whoever can say the statement, I always break it down like this: Black Lives Matter, right? Everybody wasn't one to go back and forth because they left themselves open. The people who created that movement created a cool sounding name that retweeted really well, but they left themselves open to opposition. So the Republicans who don't like anything that you're doing or whatever, that want to poke holes and shit.
Republicans are the black, the white.
It's getting mixed now. We'll talk about that. Mm-hmm. But like, they gonna want to poke holes and shit. So they said Black Lives Matter. Well, what about white lives? What about these lives? Well, all lives matter, right? And then now everybody's arguing about that. But if you would have just said Black Lives Matter too, you would have closed off that. But you didn't think that far. Because for you, it was just a retweet that blew up, and now all of a sudden you got these people who are put into position without merit, who just were able to get people to follow behind them because they had something cool to say.
So let me tell you the way I look at that.
Talk.
So it wouldn't have mattered how they said it. Let me tell you why. In my opinion. So the Black Lives Matter movement was a clear reaction to something. It was an intellectual thought. It became, and let's parse two things apart. Let's parse apart Black Lives Matter as a philosophical and intellectual statement and rallying cry, and Black Lives Matter as an organization. Because whenever there's an organization, there are going to be people at the top, in the middle, and the bottom, and then different agendas are going to come into things, and you're going to have things that you can criticize in ways that you will want something to go, right? Like there is Jesus Christ, right? And then there's the church. The gospel of, I'm not trying to push religion on nobody, but I'm saying the gospel of Jesus Christ and who that is and what it means to be a follower of him is one thing, right? Mm-hmm. You can get that straight from the source. The church itself is something different. That's a deacon and a deacon board, and then that guy might be fucking all of the women in the congregation and might make you think that Jesus ain't real, right? Because the guy who you look to as the example of where you're supposed to get your religious inspiration from has let you down, and now you say, okay, well, all of this shit must not be fake. Come back to Black Lives Matter. So Black Lives Matter is a reaction to something. So they go, hey, what we see is we see Mike Brown, we see Trayvon Martin, we see Sandra Bland, we see all of these things, and it seems as if we don't matter. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. We're not going to forget about the people that were killed. Let me tell you why I don't think that it would have mattered how they put it in terms of the opposition. The opposition to me is not necessarily about how we're phrasing it. The opposition to me exists because they stand in the way of us accessing our power. I'll give you two examples of something. Right now, as black people, we would all talk about disparities. We would say, hey, we don't get funded in this way. We don't get this type of money. We don't get these type of opportunities. I'll give you an example of a place. Tech, black women in tech. Black women in tech get 0.2% of the VC funding that goes out. They just don't get invested into tech and STEM. So there's a lady in Atlanta, and she says, oh, okay. If that's the case, then what I'll do is I'll start an organization that specifically funds black women in tech. Forget about going to Capitol Hill. Forget about trying to pass legislation. Forget about asking somebody to give you more money. We'll do it ourselves. We'll put this together, and then we'll go out and create this fund. They sued her. They sued her. Damn. The same gentleman who sued, a guy by the name of Edward Bloom, who sued to take apart affirmative action, sued her. Sued her. Said it can't be race-based. Now, the disparity is race-based, but the answer can't be. It's a violation of the 14th Amendment, they say. So it can't be race-based, right? So what I'm saying is, if you don't care about the advancement of black people, of black women, why would you be an impediment to what she's trying to do? Who is that hurting? It's uplifting people. Another example, then I'll stop. In Northern California right now, I want everybody to think about what I'm about to say. In Northern California right now, there's an initiative to give stipends to black and brown mothers after they have given birth. $1,000 a month, right? $1,000 a month, but that's doctor visits. That's aftercare. That's all types of things. Black maternal mortality rates out of this world, right? The fourth trimester, they call it, after you've given birth, an incredibly important time during care, right? They want to help these women who have these disparities. They sued it. They tried to stop it. Now, tell me how jaded you have to be to want a black baby not to have formula, to want a black woman not to be able, a brown woman to be able to take their kid to the doctor. How, and I'm not making, how jaded do you have to be to say, you know what, I'm going to make that harder. I'm going to make funding this harder. Whenever we, and I'm just, you guys, I'm not trying to ignite something here. Yeah. I'm talking about the facts on the ground as I see them. Whenever we say, you can't win for losing. You can't say, hey, you know what, government, we built this entire thing. You guys owe us $14 trillion, pay the $14 trillion. Government goes, we don't give a fuck. We done it without you. You don't get the money. You don't need no reparations. Fine, cool. You don't want us to have this. We'll go do it ourselves. And every time black people do that, white people say no. Be it Greenwood, be it Rosewood, be it any of the communities around this country where black people had thriving economic and social communities, and they were the victims of terrorism, usury, contract buying, all kinds of things. There's an order here, and we have to figure out why that exists. So when I come back to Black Lives Matter, I say it because of this. I say, okay, what's a way that I can tell you that we don't like niggas getting shot that will be okay for you? Like, what's a way I can say that? What, like, okay, cool, you're offended because you feel like you don't matter. I don't know why. Okay, tell me, what's a way that I can say that to you that you won't be offended? Then I stop in the middle of that thought and I go, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't give a shit what you think about that. Like, I don't fucking care how you approach that. It's not about you right now. It's about us. So,
Okay, so let me ask you this.
sure.
The reason why I say what I said about Black Lives Matter, and you got to put the right people in position, and sometimes you can create a cool rallying cry that isn't thought all the way through.
Sure.
So I would just take you back to Rosa Parks, right?
Of course.
The first woman to actually do that, I don't remember her name, shout outs to her. She didn't want to move out her seat on the bus. They said, this is a story that we could use, but it's not going to work with you.
Because she was pregnant.
Because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And she was, you know what I mean, Phil? You know what I mean? She was this right here.
Yeah.
She was a little too dark. And
Yeah,
she's a little too dark.
I'm lost with you.
I know Republican and Democrat.
Yeah, there you go. That's the easiest way to think about it. But okay, so they put Rosa Parks in there strategically to incite something, and we see what it led to. So the point that I'm making is not. I agree with you. I don't give a fuck what makes white people comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Shout outs to Mark Cuban saying he'll move across the street if a black guy's walking down in a hoodie.
Right. I remember that.
I don't care what makes white people comfortable, but what I'm saying is if we want actual change.
You're talking about effectiveness.
Effectiveness.
Right.
If we talking about.
And by the way,
effective.
these are the conversations that need to be had, right? Because what you're talking about is actually facts. And when you get down to even that. So, what was it that made the Montgomery bus boycott so successful? Is that it put the community through pain. It pained them. Yeah. So they economically affected the transportation system of the city. Black people stopped riding. But you know what that takes? That takes solidarity. Because right now, if I hit you up and I go, you know what? They won't let us ride the bus. They got us sitting in the back of the bus, so we're not going to ride the bus. Then me and you got a carpool. Then not only do me and you got a carpool, me and you have to carpool. We have to find somebody down the block. They have to carpool with us. And the ones that can't carpool, they got to walk. We got to buy bikes. Because we still got to get to where we're going. But we have to do it together. So I agree with what you're saying.
Well, then Black Lives really got to matter then.
See, you get what I'm saying? So, like, for us to do that, the niggas really got to care about each other.
That's the thing. So I actually have to care. Right. Not just insofar as what goes on Twitter.
Hashtag.
Then
Hashtag Black Lives.
I actually have to care about whether or not you eat.
Come on.
Whether or not you got you being treated right at your job. Forget about caring about black people. Do you care about black person? If you live next door and you come to me right now and you go, you know what, man, the HOA is treating me this way and blah, 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 I'm not getting that. Do you care about him? Not about everybody. Not about just, do you care about him? That's the thing. And so where I agree with what you're saying is, and I don't think we're saying different things. I think we're saying the same thing in different ways.
With nuance.
Right. Well, I agree with what you're saying is, yeah, when you had movers and shakers like Abernathy, King, Ella Baker, Medgar Evers, Rosa Parks, when you had men and women like that, Stokely Carmichael, Benny Rustin, all of those people like that, they were able to plan, plot, and strategize in a very specific way.
I appreciate that. You know your black leaders like you know your porn stars.
I give you 100. I give you 100 on either.